Hmm.
Lord Regent and redoubted Burgundy, by whose approach the regions of Artois, Wallen and Picardy are friends to us. This happy night, the Frenchmen are secure, having all day caroused and banqueted. Embrace we then this opportunity, as fitting best to quittance their deceit, contrived by art and baleful sorcery. Coward of France, how much he wrongs his fame, despairing of his own arm's fortitude, to join with witches and the help of hell. Traitors have never other company. What's that Pucelle whom they term so pure? A maid, they say. A maid, and be so martial! Pray God she prove not masculine ere long. If underneath the standard of the French she carry armor as she hath begun, well, let them practice and converse with spirits. God is our fortress, in whose conquering name let us resolve to scale their flinty bulwarks. Ascend, brave Talbot, we will follow thee. Not altogether, better far, I guess, that we do make our entrance several ways, that if it chance the one of us do fail, the other yet may rise against their force. Agreed, I'll to yond corner, and I to this. And here will Talbot mount or make his grave. Now Salisbury for thee and for the right of English Henry shall this night appear. How much in duty I am bound to both.
Alright, I'm gonna try. Got my new setup here, and so I'm trying to switch it up a little bit to get all the important bits in there. So now I've got, I think I've maximized the space, kind of. I don't know. See if I can. Okay. So, so I still think this might move out of the. If I go up a little. What if I do this? Give it a little bit more so it doesn't cut the end off. Yeah. And this one sneaks right there. I'm gonna try to keep rolling. I got my new layout here. So I tried to put these two on top of it. So I'm gonna try to go through the distance notation and the point notation without it boggling my mind, and think about all the different ways we could express the same kind of relationships by modal point, by color, by do re mi, by uh uh the node points. I don't know, I'm still kind of out of it. So anyways, so let's see if I can turn on the chat bots. I'm just gonna go grok this time because chat's been messing up. So I'm gonna go grok Spanish, grok English, and see what that does. See how that turns out. Okay, this time we're doing, okay, wait a second. Okay, we're comparing the antiquated music system with a more streamlined system, comparing and contrasting and experimenting with new language and terminology, including a whole color system based on point and distance, so that I can actually name things by absolute color, which is something that could then be, I think, layered on top of the learning progression for people that are like color people. And but you can't really do that unless you like do a coordinate system, which is further evidence that we need some kind of measurement system so you could do the whole thing and just think of it like a map, because that would be really interesting, I think, like for more people to just kind of mess with it, you know. And also I'm turning the fretboard right side up so that we don't have, so that like everybody doesn't have to like play like standing on their head when they play any like stringed instrument, because I'm sick of that, man. And I'm going to name the strings like from the top of the low string down to the bottom string: B1, B2, bass 1, bass 2, bass 3, tenor, alto, soprano, so that I don't say like the note name as the string name, because that's confusing. Like, why would you do that? No, stop doing that. That's confusing. Name it from the top to the bottom. Only one name per string. And the note names don't get confused. Stop standing on my head. Stop telling me to flip it around in my mind. I've got my instrument looks like I'm left-handed, but I'm not, because I flipped it around. Why? Because I'm nice. I'm the only nice guy on the internet for guitar players that says, hey, it's easier to see if you mirror it. And the thing can mirror it. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, the software is shockingly versatile these days. You can mirror it, and then you could just copy it like you're playing in the mirror. Could that be simpler? Yeah. I feel like it's pretty obvious. I mean, okay. Like, how is it nobody's seeing this? I feel like it's the same. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Okay. So that's what we'll practice doing. Let's see what it says. See what it says today. Let's try this one in Spanish, as that one's thinking. Nosotros aprendamos música teoría, pero no en la sistema antigua, o no solamente en una sistema antigua, porque yo puedo mirar que eran muchas cosas que pueden hacer más bien que no están haciendo, especialmente por la guitarra y otros instrumentos de cuerdas, pero no solamente por esto, porque en Universidad de la Música de Plato, the Platonic Forms, tiene más fácil que ver cosas en un sistema que es tal vez más de un coordinate system de una ordinal system. Esta es la root de la problema, pero no es solo la problema, porque las personas en el pasado usan símbolos y idiomas y nombres que no era tan eficiente que pueden hacer, y nosotros aún tratar que crear un sistema de coordenadas y tener un idioma, porque este es el problema. Las personas buscan por cosas que están más fácil, como la Cage System, como Nashville Numbers y todo esto, pero nunca dice, oye, este sistema es más fácil. Nosotros eran usando un coordinate system, pero no puedo usar los nombres por distancia porque simplemente default hasta la antigua idioma, y la antigua idioma es un idioma que nombrar cosas de scale degrees, y scale degrees eran completamente equivocados de una nodo porque eran de una ordinal system, y esta es el root de la problema. Entonces, personas pueden entender que están haciendo porque puedo visual, puedo mirar qué está pasando en su cabeza, pero no puedo hablar qué está pasando porque usando los idiomas que eran antigua y eran equivoqué, y tratar que decir cosas que es más fácil como un sistema de coordenadas. Las personas dicen que tú no es sofisticado, no es suficiente sofisticado, era un bruto o algo así, pero no, estas es, es más sofisticado, ok, esta es la problema, ¿entiende? Let's see what it says to that.
Yeah, the standing on your head thing is one of the quieter absurdities that just keeps getting passed down. Most of us learned it as this is just how it is, so the cognitive load of constantly flipping the mental image becomes invisible. Once you notice it, it's hard to unsee. Your string naming move is clean. Decoupling the string identity from the open string note name removes a whole layer of accidental confusion. Something like top, lowest pitch, bass 1, bass 2, bass 3, tenor, alto, soprano, highest. One name per string, fixed, independent of tuning. You can still talk about the note that happens to be on it, but the string itself stops pretending to be a note. That alone reduces a surprising amount of mental friction when you're teaching or when people are trying to talk across different tunings. The right side up mirrored view is the natural partner to that. If the physical instrument and the diagram both run low to high from top to bottom, the way most people already scan a page, the visual and the motor map stop fighting each other. Software that can flip the display makes the experiment almost free to run. People who grew up with the traditional upside-down diagrams will feel the difference immediately. People who never absorbed that convention will just find it obvious. On the color by distance, absolute color idea, once you have a coordinate system or even a simple distance from reference, color can become a true property of position rather than a decorative afterthought. You stop
Flip the
saying,
guitar
this is
around.
the red
I'm the
note in
only
this
nice guy
scale,
on the
and
internet.
start saying,
I
this
don't know if
location
anyone's
is
noticed
always
this.
this color, regardless of which
I
mode
flip
or
the
key you're
guitar around
currently
like a
thinking in.
gentleman.
That turns color into a stable
Crying out
map
loud.
layer instead of a temporary highlight.
Iron it.
It's the same reason absolute node numbers feel cleaner than scale degree numbers that keep resetting. The whole package starts looking less like a collection of clever hacks and more like a single measurement and orientation system. Fixed string identities, consistent vertical orientation, absolute positions, and optional color as a direct readout of those positions. Traditional language can still sit on top of it when needed, but it no longer has to be the foundation. You're not taking crazy pills. You're just refusing to keep carrying the historical accidents that most of us inherited without examining. The fact that the software can already mirror and recolor makes the experiment unusually low cost right now.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. That's what I'm talking about right there. Let's see what she says in Spanish. I was a little bit more chaotic in Spanish. I don't know. Is it just me? Or do you have to be a little bit more emotional when you speak Spanish? I feel like I feel like I can't do it unless I kind of I don't know. let's see.
Exacto, ahí está el nudo. El problema de raíz no es que la gente sea tonta o perezosa, es que el idioma que heredamos ya viene cargado con una ontología falsa. Trata las notas como orden, primero, segundo, tercero, en lugar de como posición en un espacio. Y una vez que el idioma te mete esa estructura en la cabeza, aunque visualices el diapasón como un plano de coordenadas, cuando abres la boca sales hablando en grados de escala otra vez. Es como si alguien te diera un mapa de coordenadas cartesianas y te obligara a describirlo solo con primero a la derecha, segundo arriba, tercero diagonal. Por eso el sistema de Platón, las formas puras, se siente más limpio. Ahí no hay primer grado ni segundo grado. Hay distancias, hay relaciones, hay simetría, hay un espacio. Y la guitarra y cualquier instrumento de cuerda con trastes o posiciones fijas es precisamente un instrumento espacial. El diapasón es un sistema de coordenadas. El cajet, los números nacionales, los shape names, todos son parches que intentan hacer más manejable un idioma que ya nació torcido. La gente siente que el enfoque de coordenadas es menos sofisticado porque confunde sofisticación con vocabulario heredado. Pero es al revés. El sistema ordinal es el que es tosco. Es una etiqueta secuencial que se inventó cuando no tenían buena forma de medir intervalos de forma absoluta y relativa al mismo tiempo. Nosotros seguimos arrastrando esa etiqueta como si fuera ley natural. Por eso cuando intentas hablar de distancias reales, nodos absolutos, posiciones en el reloj, puntos de simetría, suena bruto o simplista, porque estás usando un lenguaje que todavía no existe de forma completa, y el lenguaje viejo te obliga a traducir todo de vuelta a su gramática rota, y en esa traducción se pierde exactamente lo que estabas viendo con claridad. El problema no es solo pedagógico, es semántico. Mientras el idioma oficial siga siendo ordinal, incluso la gente que ve el sistema de coordenadas se va a ver forzada a hablar como si fuera ordinal. Y eso genera la sensación de que no se puede decir lo que uno realmente está percibiendo. ¿Quieres que sigamos desmontando esto desde el punto exacto donde el idioma se rompe? Es decir, en el momento en que una distancia se convierte en grado y pierde su naturaleza de vector, porque ahí es donde se genera casi toda la confusión posterior.
Okay. Okay, I think that's right. So I put together a new worksheet. It should be in the in the description, and let me kind of analyze it now because I think I got kind of overwhelmed yesterday, and I was like, there's too many things going on, but I have to be able to do them all like at the same time. So let me just look at this worksheet for a second with you, because we need to appreciate the masterpiece of it, the masterness. So, all right. This is why you should have a dual accounting. Music majors should learn Excel, right? You should have accounting. I mean, accounting should be a required thing for music because Excel is clearly like the best tool you could possibly. Oh, wait. Okay. So now so I've got this fretboard mapped out. Okay. So the top one, I've mapped them out side by side on top of the other ones. So the top one is giving me the note points. So I'm going to add the note points this time in all of their forms except for one, right? So if I look at the note points, I can say the note point by letter, like this is a G. I could say it by number, meaning G would be 11, but I removed the 11, so there is no 11. There's no numbered points. So I'm going to say it's a G, and then the X represents that it's Mixolydian. That's the nodal point, meaning where it lands in the 7-note collection, which depends on one of 12 7-note collections. This one being at 4 o'clock, meaning white notes on the piano, collection of notes around there, and then the 5 represents the modal point, again relative position, which you could think of the Nashville numbers, but always from the perspective of the major scale because we're not going to change the Nashville numbers. And then if I rotate the collection, from what I'm going to say 4 o'clock to like, I don't know, 11 o'clock. Now that G is now Ionian, represented by the I, and then 1 also represents Ionian. So the modal point is being represented with 2 things, whereas the letter is just going to be 1 letter. And when I say it's FG, I mean that it's F sharp G flat, because I think that's a little bit easier to see than F sharp G flat, like 4 characters versus 2 characters. It's in between F and G. It's F sharp G flat. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do there. So maybe that's not, maybe I feel like that's as tight as I could get it with these 2 name things, which again, 2 names is stupid. That I don't think that helped anyone, but maybe there's, let's not get into that right now. So then down below, I have distance. So the distance, I need distance. In order to do distance, I need to have the collection of notes. I'm back to 4 o'clock, and I need to have which point is going to be my modal center. So right now, and that's where this one comes into play. So this modal center, meaning what's my tonic within the collection of notes, isn't going to change the top one. Now notice if I was doing it in scale degrees, it would change the top one because I would have to know, like, if I was playing in Dorian and I made it the scale degree, the Dorian would have to be the 1 of the scale degree. You see how crazy that is? Like, if you try to map that out, like, again, just try to map that out, like, in Excel, like, try to make a database with that, and you'll realize how much work your mind is doing that is so much more than you need to be doing. Like, why would you renumber the whole system when I could just say that the Dorian is now the tonic? I could just say the Dorian is the tonic, the 2 is the tonic, but no, you're going to renumber the whole system to make it the 1. That's madness. All right. I mean, I don't know how to, I don't know how else you read that other than like error. So that means that, so if I keep the number system the same and I just measure from the point, then the modal distance, what my tonic is, doesn't change because it's the same collection of notes. So in other words, most commonly you're playing in from the perspective of the Ionians the tonic or the Aeolians the tonic. When I make the Aeolian the tonic under a scale degree, I have to make that the 1 of the Aeolian scale. But that means you need to renumber if you're learning an instrument, you have to renumber the whole system. Now, again, you might say, well, it doesn't make it, like, you have to renumber the whole system, right? Now, you could say, well, voice leading, it makes it better. I've argued that, like, forever for, like, against the chat bots, and it's not true, right? It's only an antiquated, it's only the fact that there's a network effect. The network effect is the thing. That, yeah, you need to tap into the terminology because that's what is in the network effect, right? Everybody uses it. But it's not more efficient, like, at all. It's way less efficient, right, is the point. I'm just saying, okay, there's like no reason, as far as I could tell, is from an efficiency standpoint, and naming and function, whatever you want to call it, if you were to take out network effect, it would be madness to renumber the whole system every time you change the tonic. Okay, that's, again, it is what it is. So that means I'm not going to change the tonic. I'm not going to change the number system when I change the tonic within the same 7-note collection. So there's only 12 7-note collections. You can make them smaller. You can make 5-note collections. Fine. That's just 7 notes minus 2. You just remove 2 of the 2 notes. And then you can argue about what should you number them, 1 through 5, or you should just drop out 2 out of the 7-note collection. I'm basically dropping 2 out of the 7-note collection. So if I have a 7-note collection and I want to drop like the Locrian and the Lydian, because those are the troublemakers, should I renumber the system so that now like Aeolian is 1 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from a scale degree standpoint? Or should I say, well, no, I still have 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 6, but I'm dropping 7 and 4, right? I'm dropping Locrian and Lydian. Seems to me the second option would be a lot easier for overall if you're trying to switch between different collections, you know what I mean? But so anyway, so I forgot where I was going with it. I'm trying to like map this out in my own mind here, so I'm kind of babbling. So then, so right, so that means so that means that we have that's that. Okay. So then down here, then I have a distance notation. Now, if you used a coordinate system, like I say, if you were going from Aeolian out or something, you would want to use uh, a distance notation. So I'd say, I'm going from here to here, which is 2 modal half steps. On a scale degree, you'd make that the 1, so that would be the 3rd scale degree. But you're really just going 2 continents up, right? What I'm calling continents and oceans. The ones in the collection are 2 continents up from the Aeolian. Okay, so if I so down here I could mirror that the same. Like if I use that, if I was like, okay, then I could say that's going to be this one. So from the perspective of the Aeolian, meaning I'm looking at it at the mode, my tonic is 6, Aeolian. My tonic is 6. So if my tonic is 6, then I could see everything measured from it. So this is a 3 note away, 1, 2, 3, Aeolian, that's what that A stands for, 2nd modal half step, because it's 2 colored notes away, 2 continent notes away, right? Now, I could add the actual mode. I could add let's do the scale degree. It'll mess up my whole color scheme. But now I have a scale degree. So now it's a 0 note away perfect first goes to a 3 note away minor third. So you could toggle that on and off if you want, but I think the more efficient system is to use the just 1, otherwise it gets too crowded, and then I can use a color system. So in other words, if I say that's a 3 note away Aeolian 2nd modal half step, what is it from a scale degree? Well, the 2 the scale degrees are all off by 1. So the 2 would be a 3, and it would be then a minor third. Now again, like you might say, well, is it a short distance or a long distance? I also have another notation here to turn on short and long. So it's a 3 note away Aeolian 2nd short distance, meaning the short distance is usually minor, right? Because there's only 2 if it's 3 continents away, it can either be short or long. Short is 3 notes away, long would be 4 notes away. In other words, if I started on the Ionian, same collection of notes, but now I start on the Ionian is now the 0, and then I go 3 notes away. Now it's a 3 note away. I need to make this from the Ionians. Wait a sec. That needs to be Ionian. This is 4. There we go. Okay, so now from the Ionians' perspective is the 0. 3 notes away. The mode is Ionian. Why does it say short? Something is wrong. No, here it is, right here. Yeah. So it's a 3 note away. So it's a 2 modal half step. It's a 4 note away Ionian 2nd modal half step because it's long, because the 2nd modal half step or 3rd scale degree is 4 notes away. So I'm just trying to say, if you use the most simple terminology, it wouldn't be major, minor, perfect, augmented, diminished. It would just be short, long. It's only short, long. There's only two options. And then, so if you use that, then I think you can then easily map it or try to figure out what the distance would be from a normal naming convention. In other words, if I see this name, it's a 4 note away Ionian 2nd. Well, the 2nd in normal naming conventions would be the 3rd scale degree, and the 3rd scale degree is long. Therefore, what's the longer of the 2 distances? Major. So it would be a major third, right? So So maybe so I'll try to put on down here. I'm gonna try to use I'll do this distance notation, and I'll try to turn on the short and long. I kind of like that short long thing. Okay, and I don't have the normal notation, but I think it's easier to look at like the actual distance notation and then derive the antiquated notation, because we can look at it properly by distance and then simply add 1 and then apply the 5 different naming systems that should just be short and long, right? So then that's the way to bridge it in the most efficient way, so I can kind of learn both but bridge it. Okay. So okay. So let's go back to like 6 o'clock. Let's say Aeolian is the tonic, and say Aeolian's the tonic. So now, if Aeolian's the tonic, like here's an Aeolian up here, the color is red. So let's just look at the points now. Like if I analyze the points, what are the different ways I can name the points in any 7-note collection? Any 7-note collection. It could be by number, Nashville number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They don't change, even though Aeolian's the tonic. I'm still going to say Ionian is 1, right? So that's one way I can do it. I could say the other way I can do it is to name it by nodal point. So I'm not talking about the modes as scales. I'm talking about the modes as the points within any of the 12 7-note collections. Ionian, Dorian, that's the small d, Phrygian's the P, Lydian's the Y, Mixolydian's the X, Aeolian's the small a, and Locrian is the N because it's backwards, because it's the crazy one, and then back to Ionian. I could name them by the do, re, mi system. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and then back to da, which is equivalent to do, right? And then you start it over again. I could name it by the color system. So now I've given an absolute color system. So now this is going to be yellow green. This is green. I think I named it spring green before, but I'm just going to call it green because I basically always use these colors. So I think I kind of tweaked. I kind of messed up the color thing there a little because it should be spring green, but I'm just going to call it green. So this is yellow green, and it's going to be absolute. So yellow green, spring green. What did we call this? Is blue. This is sky blue, and then blue, and then this was called magenta. I'm just gonna call it pink. These are because the points are gonna be the easier colors. So this is yellow, green, sky blue is a little wonky. So, but it's still pretty simple compared to the other one. And then blue, pink, and then red, and then yellow. So that means the Ionian is always yellow, green. The Dorian is green, not the D, the Dorian, right? The Phrygian is always sky blue. The Lydian is blue. The Mixolydian is pink. The Aeolian is red. The Locrian is yellow. If I change the collection of notes to 11 o'clock, that's fine. Now the G is the one that's yellow-green because it's the Ionian. A is now the green because it's the Dorian. B is now sky blue because it's Phrygian. C is now blue because it's Lydian. X or D is now pink because it's Mixolydian. A is now, or E is now red because it's Aeolian. And F sharp G flat is now yellow because it's Locrian. Okay, let's go back to 4 o'clock. Okay. So then on the distance notation, I have a color system here on the distance notation. So it's not the same color system. It's a different color system. So now I'm going to say over here, we have the tonic, which is the Aeolian. So if I just mirror this one from here, I'm just going down this string. So Aeolian, Locrian, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian. So I'm starting on Aeolian. So it's same collection because that's the tonic. So that whatever the tonic is going to be red. And then now the distance notation is going to be in half steps. So the distance notation's in half steps. Now I was looking at this last night. Like if I said like that if I went 2 continents up from the Aeolian, I land on the Ionian. Okay. Uh, so I could name that I went an Aeolian second distance-wise. I went an Aeolian second modal half step, which would be a third scale degree, a minor third scale degree. But I'm going to name it by the Aeolian second because it's the natural second to the Aeolian. If you start from the Aeolian continent and you go continent hopping, an Aeolian second includes continent and oceans of 3 away. So it's an Aeolian second, which happens to be a short second, right? Which you can call a minor third. Okay. So then, but notice when I say it's a short second, I can derive I could derive the half steps. What does a short second mean? What does an Aeolian second mean? Well, it means it has 3 notes away. 3 notes, I'm deriving the fact that I know that a short second or Aeolian second or minor third means 3 notes away. I could also say I'm starting on the Aeolian 3 notes away lands me on the Ionian. Aeolian 3 notes away, half steps, 3 note half steps instead of modal half steps. 3 note half steps lands me on the Ionian. And then I could derive, if I know what the starting point is, then I know that that is an Aeolian second modal half step or a short second modal half step. Now, again, you could say it's 3 notes away. That's always a minor third. I don't need to know what the root is. Fine. But that doesn't really tell you much, right? What I want to know is 3 notes away from what? So that's why the minor third is actually less efficient, right? So I mean, I could say I'm going 3 notes away from something that was in the ocean or something, right? That doesn't really help me. So the point is, when I look at the color system down here, it's telling me the half steps in essence. So if I go from the Aeolian, so I could say something like this. This is where it gets kind of weird, right? So I could say like if I'm looking at distance, I could say that I'm doing I'm starting on the Aeolian and I'm going a minor third away. Okay, that's 3 notes away. I could say that I'm starting on the Aeolian and I'm going 2 modal half steps away. What does that mean? That means it's an Aeolian second from a modal distance perspective, which is, I could say it's in the Aeolian and then it's a short second, right? Which is an Aeolian second. I could use the colors and say that, or I could say it's an Aeolian 3 notes away, which I could then derive. If you tell me it's 3 notes away from the Aeolian, it's an Aeolian second, right? That's what 3 notes away means if I'm on the continent of Aeolian, just because of the geography, how many oceans and continents are in between it. If I name it by color, then I could say it's an Aeolian, and then this color, 3 notes away, is yellow. 3 notes away is lime. So these are the exotic colors. So I could say it's an Aeolian lime, right? What does Aeolian lime mean? Well, the Aeolian is the point. I mean, no, I could say it's a red line. Red lime. That's all I need to say from a color standpoint. What does that mean? Well, if I do red lime, it'll land me on yellow green. It'll land me on yellow green. Red lime lands me on yellow green. You see what I mean by color? Red. So if I'm on red, I have a different system for colors of points and distance. So red lime lands me on yellow green. Red lime lands me on yellow green. Okay. So I could name it like I could say Nashville number 6. Nashville number 6's second modal half step lands me on Nashville number 1. I could say modal point 6's second modal half step lands me on Ionian, right? I could say that the Aeolian's second modal half step lands me on Ionian. I could use the do re mi system, do re mi fa sol la. I don't care what you call it. I could say la's second modal half step, continent hopping, lands me on Ionian. See, it's just a map, right? I don't care what you call the continents and oceans, although numbering them with a fixed system will help you do simple math. And I think it's kind of interesting that you can use the color thing, right? Because that I think, kids would particularly kind of like that. It would be kind of a funny like code thing, right? You're like, okay, it's a red. You go a red lime lands you on yellow green. Red lime lands yellow green, right? So I don't know. But anyways, if you learned like this color system is a little bit longer, right? Because I have to learn all 12 colors depending on the collection of notes, which is, orange, amber, chartreuse, lime green. I have mint, aqua, electric sky, which the other one was blue sky versus electric sky. Okay. And then azul, I'm just going to call that grape. Orchid, okay. Fuchsia, okay. And then punch. All right. So if I learned those colors, then I can name all the distances. But when I name the distances, it's not telling me the distance in modal half steps or scale degrees. It's only telling me distance in half steps. But if I give the distance in half steps, I should be able to derive the distance in modal half steps and scale degrees if you tell me where we started from, right? Where the traditional system doesn't have to do that. It could just say, oh, you went a minor third. From where? It doesn't matter, right? It's just a minor third just means 3 notes away, right? There's no real point to call it. Okay, I'm going to ask the chat bot something here. Okay, so I'm thinking about the distance notation, and I'm thinking about like if you saw it as a map and you say, okay, I'm going 2 modal half steps up, then and so if I go on from the Aeolian and I go 2 modal half steps up, I land on the Ionian, right? That makes sense. And I can also say that if I go from the Aeolian and I go 3 note half steps up, meaning just normal half steps, I would land on the Ionian, and then I could derive the fact, well, if I started on the Aeolian and I went 3 up, that means that I must have gone 2 modal half steps or a 3rd scale degree, which makes sense because then I can tell if I tell you where I'm starting from and I tell you the distance, I can tell you the distance either in the format of modal half steps or scale degrees, or I can tell you in half steps, and you can derive the other one. If I tell you I did an Aeolian 2nd modal half step, you can derive the fact that I went 3 notes away. If I tell you that I went an Aeolian 3 note half steps away, you could derive the fact that that would be an Aeolian 2nd modal half step or 3rd scale degree. Whereas the current system, like the old antiquated system with scale degrees, you could just say I went a minor third without reference to anything. It's like an abstract thing, right? I went a minor third. But I keep thinking like the whole point of saying that you win a third is to give context. Like, it seems like it's like, I get like people could argue, well, the minor third just means 3 notes away. You don't have to name the starting point. It's like, okay. But again, why would you do that? If there's no starting point, you would almost never you would say it's 3 notes away, right? Because minor third, you would think that when you use a third, it only has relevance in context. You know what I mean? So I don't even get why would you ever say minor third if you're not referring to a starting point where you're going a minor third from? You see what I mean? All right. So that's my general worksheet anyways. Okay. So given that, we'll let chat or Ara tell me what she thinks about that. What do you think about that?
You're zeroing in on something important. Every distance claim is either anchored or it's floating, and the traditional system pretends the floating version is the default. Let's stay with your Aeolian example and make the units explicit. Start on Aeolian, call that position 0 for this moment. Negative 2 modal half steps up lands you on Ionian. In the diatonic sequence, those 2 modal steps are half plus whole equals 3 chromatic half steps. 3 note half steps chromatic up also lands on Ionian. So the same physical distance can be named 2 ways. 1. Aeolian plus 2 modal half steps. 2. Aeolian plus 3 note half steps. From either statement, you can derive the other, and you can also derive the scale degree language. That is the third scale degree relative to Aeolian. Now contrast that with the traditional phrase, a minor third. When someone says a minor third, they are almost always implying a starting note, even if they don't say it out loud. The name itself only has meaning because it assumes a tonal or scalar context. Yet the system presents the interval as if it were a free-floating object that exists independently of any origin. That's the oddity you're sensing. If the whole point of calling it a third is to locate it inside a scale or mode, then why does the language treat the starting point as optional? Your notation refuses that sleight of hand. Every distance is stated with its origin. Aeolian plus 2 modal, negative Aeolian plus 3 chromatic. Or, if you prefer the derived form, Aeolian's third scale degree. Once the origin is required, the different unit systems become interchangeable translations of the same movement on the map. Modal half steps keep you inside the mode's own rhythm of steps. Chromatic half steps keep you on the absolute grid. Scale degrees become a third derived language rather than the primary one. The traditional system collapses all of that into a single abstract label, minor third, and then forces the listener to reattach the missing context every time. You're proposing that the context never leaves in the first place. That seems cleaner. The only real question left is which unit you want as the primary spoken language day to day. Modal steps, chromatic steps, or absolute node numbers, and which ones remain as convertible overlays. But the principle is solid. Distance without origin is incomplete information.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying, man. And then it's like you act like it's like a good thing or something. Like, oh, this is you could, but it's you would never use it that way. Uh, okay. I don't know, man. Uh, anyway, I don't know. I think I'm kind of. I'm kind of tired now. That took a lot to map that out. But I'm gonna. Uh, so I'll just noodle around for a while here. I'm at 4 o'clock, and I'm at my Aeolian tonic. Or let's do. I'm kind of messing around with the Lydian is the tonic. So if I made Lydian the tonic, boom. Then at the top, blue is the tonic. But down here, the tonic is orange fire or something, orange flame. It's the tonic, and then it's going. So right, and then if I go up a 7 note away Lydian fourth modal half step, which is a long fourth modal half step, I land not on blue but on azure. So if I go blue and then I go up a distance of azure, then what happens is I land on yellow green. If I go blue and then if I go blue and then I go up a distance of azure, I land on yellow green. Makes perfect sense. Okay. And a distance of azure from blue is a 7 note away distance, or from a color system, it would be a distance of azure from blue is a is 4 colors away. It's 4 colors away. See? Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I start on blue and I go azul, I land on yellow green, and azul represents a blue fourth color distance. Represents a blue fourth color distance. Fourth color away. Let's try a joke. Let's see. Music theory joke. Back feels a little better today. That's good. Okay. The antiquated. Okay, what is that? Is this properly situated? the antiquated music system is fat, okay? I'm sorry. I'm just calling it like it is. The antiquated music system is fat, which wasn't a big problem when it was like younger, you know? But time has passed. It's gotten older. It's put on some terminology at this point, and now it's got diabetes. We need to trim this thing down before it loses a foot. We have to do something. Look at this. How many possible distances are there per scale degree? The antiquated music theory says major, minor, perfect, augmented, diminished. It's like 5? 5? Really? There are only 2 possible distances at each step in a 7-note collection. This system doesn't have a double chin. It has like 2.5 chins at this point. It has 2.5 chins. And nobody says anything because apparently we're body positive about music theory at this point. And it's like, its resting nomenclature rate is terrible. It hasn't exercised in a fixed reference point since like Bach. Okay, let's put it on the scale. How many standard 7-note collection number systems do we need? How many do we need? And the antiquated theory says, well, I don't know, 12 collections times like 7 possible tonics within each collection gives us 84 numbering systems as like the baseline, the standard scale degrees, you know? Those are the standard 80. You got to memorize the standard 84 standard. You know, it's like, dude, there's only 12. There's only 12 numbering systems you need. Do you see what I'm talking about? That's like a BMI, a body music index, 7 times higher than it should be, man. We've got 84 numbering systems clogging the theoretical arteries. That's out of hand. It's out of hand. The antiquated system's metabolism is shot. Every time it modulates, it gains 7 pounds. It's no good. So your tonic changed, so you renumbered everything? That's emotional eating right there. That's not, and we've been enabling it for like centuries at this point. So don't worry, that's not fat. That's modal nomenclature. No, it's fat. Okay? The circle of fists at this point, it's the circle of seconds at the buffet. You know, we don't need another textbook. We need a nutritionist, because the system isn't complex just because music is complex. That's not what's happening here. Some of this is terminology cholesterol, pretty much like a lot of it. Like, I don't know, it's over, once it gets over 50% complex due to terminology, I feel like something has to happen. So now let's check the blood sugar. So what happens when you add one note outside the standard collection? What happens? Antiquated music theory says, oh, new scale. You have a whole new scale, and then it creates at least 7 possible numbering systems depending on which note you called the tonic of the new scale that was created, because you added a note that was, you know, you put a half step in a scale that wasn't. Stop feeding it. You gave it one note and it ate one chromatic note and gained 7 scales again. That's not music theory. That's insulin resistance. Every time this thing encounters an accidental, its blood sugar spikes. Do you see where the diabetes is coming from at this point? See what I'm talking about? Like, the worst part is that the musicians have been living on this diet for like generations at this point. Every student gets hundreds of the same giant plate. Here are your major scales, minor scales, modes, scale degrees, altered scale degrees, inharmonic spelling, augmented intervals, diminished intervals. Eat everything or you don't understand the music. And it's like, and then we wonder why the musicians are bloated. Music theory has been feeding musicians empty nomenclature carbohydrates for like 300 years. Musicians aren't confused. They're experiencing nomenclature-induced metabolic syndrome at this point. We have to save them. We have to save them. We need musical dieting, not for the musicians, for the system. We're putting traditional music theory on a strict coordinate diet. 12 collections, fixed locations, 2 distances, home is 0, no snacking between tonics. And we're gonna weigh it again in 6 months just to make sure you didn't like sneak in a bunch of crap. So because I'm not trying to destroy traditional music theory, I'm just trying to save its life, man. Trying to save its life. Okay, let's see what it gives us. I'll try to put a song in between. See what it gives us. I need to make more of these songs.
been drinking all day. Good. Let them celebrate. Let Orleans think the war is over. Let them lock the gates. Let Joan take the praise. Let Charles call it fate. Tonight we stop explaining and climb. She's a witch, she's a fraud. Call her whatever makes you brave. I don't care what name you give her if we never reach the wall we came to take. Bring the ladder, split the force, 3 directions, no parade. If one attack goes down, the others keep moving. That's how tonight gets made. Climb the wall, don't wait for day. Climb the wall, take back what slipped away. No trumpet, no warning, no speech before the fight. If France owns Orleans in daylight, then England comes at night. God stands with England and climb for Burgundy and climb for Salisbury, for Henry, for every man we left behind. You can argue heaven in the morning. Tonight use your hands, use the ladder, move. Climb the wall, don't wait for day. Climb the wall, take back what slipped away. 3 roads, 3 ladders, 1 city in the night. You don't need to win the argument if you can win the fight. Funny how war changes at noon, it's banners, cavalry drums. At midnight it's quiet breathing, wood against stone, and waiting for somebody to notice you've come. No legend helps if your foot slips. No prophecy holds the rung. Every empire eventually depends on somebody climbing in the dark. Salisbury, this one is yours. Henry, this one is too. Joan, if you're somewhere inside that city, I'm coming back for you. 1 ladder, 2 ladders, 3, go!
Alright, let's see what we got here.
Whoa, this music system is so fat!
And it's so antiquated.
Fat, antiquated, how dare you! Look at your belly, it's huge!
And all these old symbols.
I'll have you know I'm classical!
Classical, more like confusing! Insolent students!
Which wasn't as big a problem when it was younger.
But time has passed. It's gotten older. It's put on some terminology.
Wow, it's huge.
Indeed, every term here is a piece of the puzzle.
Doctor, his blood sugar is 312.
And now it has diabetes. We need to trim this thing down before we lose a foot.
Hurry, his theoretical weight is off the charts.
Not my perfect augmented chords. Hold still. Trimming the diminished are stabilizing.
Keep going, don't lose the rhythm.
Look at this. How many possible distances are there per scale degree? Antiquated music theory says 5. Major, minor, perfect, augmented, diminished. 5. Can you show me? Certainly. Major and minor are flexible, perfect are fixed, and augmented and diminished alter them. I see. So 5 qualities.
Precisely.
5? There are only 2 possible distances at each step in a 7-note collection. This system doesn't have a double chin. It has like 2.5 chins.
2.5, you say?
Exactly. And the short steps are 1 semitone, long steps 2.
Ah, I see. Elegant indeed. Welcome, everyone! Body positive music theory!
All valid. All scales, all modes, all beautiful.
And nobody says anything because apparently we're body positive about music theory.
That's right. Every note counts. Woo! Love your mode. Its resting nomenclature rate is terrible. It hasn't exercised a fixed reference point since Bach.
But I'm so tired!
No excuses! Let's go!
Ugh, my legs!
Faster! Burn those calories!
I can't!
Okay, let's put it on the scale.
How many standard 7-note collection numbering systems do we need?
Whoa, look!
Exactly! Only 12.
The 12 we need! Whoa, 84 numbering systems? Precisely. The antiquated theory states 12 collections times 7 possible tonics equals 84. How does it work? Observe. 12 collections of notes, each with 7 possible tonics. Multiply them. So each collection has 7 modes. Exactly. 12 times 7 is 84 unique systems. 84! It should only be 12!
That's a BMI, Body Music Index.
7 times higher than it should be.
84! That's impossible!
The overload is critical.
We have to lower it to 12 now!
Help me! I can't take it!
We've got 84 numbering systems clogging the theoretical arteries. The diagnostic scan shows blockage level critical.
Flow is severely restricted. We have to act now.
The systems are backing up. Clear the pathways. Bypassing the clogs, rerouting the data flow.
It's working. Flow is improving.
Yes! The arteries are clearing! The antiquated system's metabolism is shot. Every time it modulates, it gains 7 pounds.
What? 7 pounds?
It's happening again. The modulation frequency is critical. Stop it! Trim it down! Arg! So heavy! Obesity at critical levels! Your tonic changed so you renumbered everything? That's emotional eating.
Emotional eating nonsense. It's reharmonization. By eating cake, the cakes represent the new key. Each bite is a modulation.
So, emotional eating.
It's art. Now have some.
No thanks! And we've been enabling it for centuries. Enabling what? This whole stuff. Every generation, teacher, student, and textbook perpetuating the same rigid rules. But why? Because it's tradition. From Baroque figured bass to modern scale degree wheels, it's all about renumbering and memorizing. But we can change it!
Don't worry, that's not fat. That's modal nomenclature.
No, it's fat.
Nonsense, it's the modes, the scales, the beautiful nomenclature. It's still fat. You just don't appreciate the...
The circle of fifths? At this point, it's the circle of seconds at the buffet!
Haha, seconds? I'm on my fifths already.
This is insane! Every key and mod at once?
The more the merriers. Modulate this.
I can't keep up! It's too much! We don't need another textbook! We need a nutritionist!
Exactly. Theory is useless without practical health.
Blasphemy! Music theory is everything! No! Feed the music, not the ego!
My plan, less junk, more music, for better health.
Preposterous! Our scales demand more!
Health! Because the system isn't complex just because music is complex. Some of this is terminology cholesterol. It clogs understanding, creates confusion, and adds no real value. We must separate the essence from the excess. Only then can we see music's true, infinite beauty. Now let's check the blood sugar. What happens when you add one note outside the standard collection? Inserting the additional note now. It's reacting! The levels are rising!
The reading is 888.
The unknown effect is manifesting.
The particles are increasing.
Whoa! Oh, new scale! This creates at least 7 possible numbering systems.
7? How? Depending on which note you call the tonic.
Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian.
That's confusing! Stop feeding it! You gave it one note! It ate one chromatic note and gained 7 scales! No! It's getting bigger! Stop it now!
That's not music theory. That's insulin resistance. What? My modes are just misaligned.
No, it's high scale count, poor note utilization.
And excess nomenclature fat. So my musical obesity is just insulin resistance?
Exactly. We fix the coordinates, stop renaming.
And feed the music.
Every time this thing encounters an accidental, its blood sugar spikes. Do you see where the diabetes is coming from now? Look at the graph! The terminology overload is killing it! We have to simplify this system before it crashes! And the worst part is, musicians have been living on this diet for generations.
Indeed, the same meal every generation.
Look at all this, chord bloat, analysis paralysis.
It's tradition. We'll go the same bird.
But it's causing musical fatigue. We need something new. New? In this cafeteria? Good luck.
Here are your major scales, minor scales, modes, scale degrees, altered scale degrees, enharmonic spellings, augmented intervals, diminished intervals. Eat everything or you don't understand music.
Yes, Professor! Distributing now!
Whoa, whole plate?
No exceptions, every last bite.
Oh, this is impossible.
But we have to try! For 300 years, music theory has been feeding musicians empty nomenclature carbohydrates. Here you go! Fresh empty theory! But it's all just names, no sound, no function! And we wonder why the musicians are bloated. Ugh, I'm so full of this theoretical bloat! Empty theory leading to creative paralysis. Musicians, you're not just confused. You're experiencing nomenclature-induced metabolic syndrome. It's from excess theoretical intake.
So our brains are bloated with jargon? What's the treatment?
Simplify, reduce redundancy, move to real music.
Ah! We have to save them!
We need musical dieting. Not for the musicians, for the system.
For the system!
You challenge the system? We're putting traditional music theory on a strict coordinate diet. 12 collections, fixed locations, 2 distances, home is 0. Leaner, cleaner, efficient, powerful, musical.
Simple, logical, musical, coordinate.
I feel so much lifter. Music theory, transform. No snacking between tonics. But I'm hungry. No excuses. We're gonna weigh it again in 6 months. 6 months? That's a long
Whistles
time.
backwards.
Stick to the plan. You'll see results. All right, coach, I'll try. Because I'm not trying to destroy traditional music theory. I'm trying to save its life.
Save it? How can you save what you seem to challenge?
By giving it new life. Look at this world, it's built on those old stones. Then let the music speak. Show me how you will save it.
Okay. Pretty fancy animation. His whistle was backwards. But other than that, it was pretty good. I feel like, I don't know.